So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our pre-event webinar under the banner of the 9th Africa Agri Expo 2026. The event is going to take place on the 11th and 12th of February at the Kenyatta International Convention Center in Nairobi, Kenya. The event is a flagship event hosted by TAB Group. I am Tanya from TAB Group, and it is my pleasure to host today's discussion, which is titled Powering Progress, How Technology is Redefining Agricultural Machinery in Today's uh, Globalizing World. So the session today will explore how cutting-edge innovation in machinery design, automation, and manufacturing are transforming modern agriculture, making it more productive, sustainable, and accessible for farmers across Africa. Let's begin by welcoming our speakers one by one. We first have Conrado De Vita. He's Territory Manager, South America, Middle East, and Africa at FAE Group. The company is one of our proud sponsors for Africa Agri Expo. Welcome to the webinar, Conrado.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Jonah Jones, who is Executive Director, Agri Systems at WamiAgro. Welcome and thank you for being here with us, Jonah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, and now we have Nixon Wafula, who's Program Manager from a local organization called PAFID. Welcome to the discussion.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Very well, and we would most likely be also joined by Mr. Dhananjay Nikam, who's East Africa Tech Operations at Robustrade. Robustrade is also proudly sponsoring the Africa Agri Expo 2026 edition. So gentlemen, welcome to the discussion today. I think we should begin. I would quickly start this discussion by asking Conrado that we know that, phase machinery plays a major role in land preparation and soil management. So we would like to know your view on how are advancements in material engineering, durability, and precision control redefining the way farmers prepare land in Africa.
Yes, so first of all, thank you for the opportunity. Welcome, everyone. To introduce a little bit also FAE inside of this panel, first thing to say, I think very important is that FAE is not a strictly agricultural machinery manufacturer. We are more specialized in forestry equipment, so land clearing equipment. This puts us, I think, at the first stage of soil preparation, which is exactly land clearing for then soil reclamation. I think in our sector, so that one of exactly creating, let's say, space for agriculture, what we have seen through the years is a bigger and bigger growing attention to productivity. So in many cases, productivity can mean for the users can mean doing as much as possible with the cheapest machinery. We don't believe in this. What we believe is that in our most technologically advanced solutions, we have to aim to give our customers the highest productivity, but not by making the cheapest product. On the contrary, by making these solutions endurable, so that they are affordable in the long term. Okay, so the more one machine is endurable and can work through many years, giving the customers an experience of high performance, this is the real productivity that we want to give our customers worldwide. And I think it's very important for the African public also to follow this, because this is the main change for them. There's a lot of machinery out there. Our motto is make the difference, and we try to make the difference in this, in making a very advanced product and endurable, so that long term the customers can have their own return on investment.
Right. Thank you for sharing that, Conrado. And we are sure from this answer that innovation in machinery design is actually transforming efficiency in the field. Now, coming to you, Jonah, from an agri-systems perspective, what do you think are the major gaps that still exist in machinery adoption across the African value chains today, and how can modular equipment or automation technologies help to, close these gaps or bring that change?
Okay, thank you very much. It is an honor. I think we delving into mechanization and then technology adoption. In Ghana here, we as WamiAgro, we've worked with over 50,000 smallholder farmers, and then these experiences, in terms of the gaps, are related to real-time issues we see on the field, based on our interaction and our support to these farmers, based on which we exist as an ag fintech company trying to support. So now, major keys is with the agricultural lands in Ghana, averagely we have about just 6 to 16% of these lands being mechanized, and then it's heavily under manual labor. It's from that if I'm saying that I'm casting it from land preparation to harvest and then to post-harvest technologies. This is mainly based on issues. One, we look at the high cost of machineries and its availability to smallholder farmers. A chunk of these farmers, that is, I would say about 60% of Africa's population being a labor source of in terms of agriculture. And then in Ghana, we are looking about 30% of the labor source being into the agri sector. Now, these farmers are mostly in the rural setups where you hardly have these machineries going to these areas. And if you say smallholder farmer, we're looking at someone who's doing barely 2.5 acres or a hectare of land. And this is quite expensive to acquire. In Ghana, a tractor should cost nothing less than 4,000 US dollars, which is quite expensive for a smallholder farmer to buy. Now, if you look at the small driven implements that are usable by these farmers, you realize most of these farmers have been women who are struggling to make ends meet. They hardly make $1 as the wages by day. It's quite expensive. So we're looking at the high cost of these machinery and then its limited access. You find these machines and they're mostly clustered in the urban areas, not in deep rural areas. So it is very difficult for farmers to come by these mechanized machines. Now we can look at the fragmented nature of our lands. If it's a smallholders, I can actually say I'm doing production for a community that has 200 acres, and these 200 acres are in pockets of fragments of 1 acre, 2 acres, 3 acres, dispersed about, and it's quite difficult getting machineries to these areas to work. It has been a major challenge. Now, the other aspect is going to be where issue of the skills in terms of operation or managing these machineries. Most of the machineries we have in Africa are mainly the large, cumbersome, kind of confiscated machine like the tractor, the combine harvester, and its likes. And now you have issues where it's difficult to even get parts in some part of Ghana or some areas. Very difficult to come by the parts. You have to import the parts, or you either get a local fabricator to manufacture something just to suit. And by so doing, you reduce the lifespan of the machine. It doesn't give efficiency or effectiveness of the machine when it works. We can also look at the data. Now, when we see issues of land preparation and the like, do these operators, what do they know about the depth of flower? What do they know about the depth of seeding? What do they know about the spacing or the extent to go? There is a lot of knowledge lacking between the machine working and who is operating the machine. I think this is what I see to be some of the major gaps in adapting to technology, especially when it comes to machine.
Right, Jonah, thank you. And I really appreciate you breaking down that kind of explanation for us and making us understand what are the on-ground gaps that needs to be filled in this particular department or the sector that you've just mentioned. And also it is important to understand from organizations like yours, what is it that can be done to tackle them real time instead of just discussing what are the newer technologies. It is important to understand how we also implicate them in real time challenges. So thank you for that breakdown. Now, Nixon, in this case, I also want to bring in the community angle. I want to ask you, being a local organization, how do you or PAFID see modern machinery, particularly the ones that are low cost, that are locally adaptable innovations? How can they help farmers transition from labor intensive to technology enabled farming systems? Nixon?
So if I can get a question again.
Yes.
Sorry?
So if you could throw lights on the question again.
Okay. So, Nixon, I wanted to understand from you that if we were to bring in the community angle in this particular discussion, how do you think modern machinery, which is particularly low cost and can be also adapted locally, how will it help farmers transition from a labor-intensive system to a technology-enabled farming system?
Yeah, thank you very much, Tanya. I think you are right. Uh, Agriculture currently is being faced by shortage of labor, and as we all know, that the elephant in the room is the population, and feeding a large population with the uh,
Nixon, I think there is some internet lag on your end.
shortage of labor.
Try and adjust that. Hello, Nixon, can you hear me? I think he is having some internet issues right now. Maybe, Conrado, I'll just come back to you for another question. Maybe you can help us understand that as a sponsor of the 9th Africa Agri Expo, what strategic value does FAE see in bringing advanced machinery to African markets, and how is the company adapting design or support systems to ensure accessibility and long-term sustainability?
Well, it's more I think the concept and how we face the challenges that can be found in the African continent. For us, Africa is kind of a new thing for us because we develop very well the European and North American market. Now zones like Asia, Latin America, and Africa themselves are being developed more or less on the same level. But of course, there are differences, territory differences, cultural differences, which we have to take into consideration. I think the main point is that the African continent and the African agriculture has a great potential in terms of territory, in terms of fertility, in terms of labor, workforce, in terms of youth of the population as well, I believe. All this potential cannot, I think, neglect the technological advancement that we faced in our times. Because the consequence of this would be absolutely falling behind in terms of productivity and, of course, of profit. Because the sooner you get to a higher productivity, the better is your profit in the years to come, I believe. We have seen that. Therefore, it is very important that we can experience a direct follow-up with the farmers on the territory, and that we can assist them. With this, FAE has kind of a history in trying to assist and personally many of our customers all over the world in choosing highly reliable and modern solutions. This doesn't come only by design; it comes also by new innovations, such as we launched a couple years ago as the sonic system of torque control for our motors for excavators. It's the interactivity that we have into our FAE application, which already gives diagnostics and many other solutions to the farmers to monitor their activity even by their own smartphone. Of course, it's kind of a fashionable feature, but it's very useful, and it's going to turn more and more useful in the future. So I believe the main approach that we need to have is just to stay by the customer side, of course, as much as we can.
Right. And I think that's the best way to go about it also, Conrado. And if I were to ask you, what is there a call to action that you would like to give away to the local associations or organizations within Kenya, welcoming a business like yourself who is now exploring African market at a larger pace in order to in order to bring in the kind of products that you're bringing?
What would be my advice? Of course, more than an advice, I'm very excited in participating to this event, exactly to being able to reach out, to make contact with as many African realities as we can at once. So this is our main point and our main goal in the exhibition. It is to really reach out to this reality at a higher level, so that we can really interact. First of all, yes, with associations, with cooperatives, with direct customers, with possible distributors, which is our main goal in this exhibition, is to establish new partnerships in the continent. So I'm very excited about this, and I hope this is going to bring fruit to us and, of course, to the African farmers.
Absolutely. And we're also equally excited to welcoming FAE into our project of Africa Agri Expo and explore the kind of new discoveries that the world of agriculture is today making. And of course, the African markets, as well as the African agriculture landscape, is very welcoming in terms of including these newer technologies and newer ideas of sustainable farming and agriculture and machinery. So thank you for your insights. Moving on from that, Jonah, we also know that Africa is rapidly digitizing today from west to east. And I want to understand from you that how can machinery innovation be connected with advisory systems today? Whether it can involve input supply chains, climate smart cropping models to create the kind of more integrated and resilient farming ecosystem that is more than result oriented.
Yeah, thank you. So connecting machinery to tech-driven solutions and then filling in the gap, I think more of the advisory now, we should look at it should be more tailored to the yield and not just the use. I think from the data we have, farmers do not see the use of machinery in improving yield. They rather see it as a form of reducing labor and its likes and the cost effectiveness in terms of usage. But I think the right usage can be channeled into accurate supply of inputs at the right time, using it based on the data we've derived from the use of inputs, the timely nature, the quantities we're using. So I think this advisory should cut across, especially with the climate smart approach using the cropping models that can support based on the data we've received from the past, or we've been able to accumulate from the past. I think the advisory should be intentional based on the data we have.
Yeah. Right. So, thank you so much. That is really appreciative, Jonah, and I'm in complete agreement with your reply here. And thank you for that insightful answer. Nixon, now that you're here, we want to understand, to wrap up this discussion, that as we prepare for the expo, the Africa Agri Expo, what policy, extension, or community level interventions do you believe are most urgent to boost sustainable mechanization and ensure technology reaches last mile farmers in today's time?
Yeah, thank you very much. As you rightly say, technology is very key, and mechanization is urgent. Farmers need to adopt mechanization. However, we find that, especially in Kenya, farmers are using technologies that are not suitable for the local conditions, for example. So training is a must for those farmers to understand how to adapt the machines to the local conditions. You find, as I said earlier, before I was distracted by internet, is that we are dealing with smallholder farmers. And these smallholder farmers are, first of all, risk averse. And they don't want to make a risk or a bargain of something that is their livelihood. So they need something that they can be sure of, that if they do this, then the results is guaranteed, is sort of guaranteed. Now, we are looking at a situation whereby these are novel ideas and farmers are less likely to adopt them, because if they are not understanding them very well, then they wouldn't adopt them, because they don't want to risk their sole dependence or their source of income. So that is one thing that it needs to be addressed. Number two, we need to tailor these machines to be able to at least be versatile. You know, smallholder farmers are engaging in a wide range of enterprises. You're talking about maize, you're talking about beans, you're talking about a wide range of crops, for example, or interventions. So these machines should be able to at least do a number of chores without requiring to have a number of machines to perform certain tasks. For example, a tractor equipped with to carry out several functions on the farm, it increases higher chances of adoption rather than having a farmer to purchase several types of machines to be able to produce from, planning or planting stage all the way to harvesting and post-harvest stage. That's what I can say for now.
Right. Thank you, Nixon, for sharing that insight. And it gives us a clear picture of the ecosystem from policy to technology adoption at the grassroots level. And also, it is important to understand from you, being a local organization, that what do you think is a relevance of an expo like the Africa Agri Expo? Because year after year, we have received your support, we have received PAFID's support, we have received the ministry's support, and we keep on bringing this event to the African market and bringing all the stakeholders of the businesses across the globe into this event. So how will you sum it up? How will you sum it up, the relevance of this particular event in the African region for us?
The technology should be able to affordable. First of all, it should be affordable, because we realize sometimes most Kenyan farmers are not breaking even because of course, a number of challenges, be it a high cost of input, be it climate change, the drought and pests and what have you. So the technology has to be very affordable. The technology has to be easy to use. With the age of technology, or AI and such a stuff, we need to be able to have a farmer who is not very literate or semi-literate be able to set up a simple machine like a planter and not to struggle with calibration and such like things. So if those machines are able to, automate a number of things, then it is easier for farmers to widely adopt some of these machines. Right. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nixon. And thank you to all of our panelists for their insights today. Today's discussion highlighted that the future of agriculture machinery is not just about innovation, it is about creating an ecosystem that empowers every farmer. And from commercial producers to smallholders, we invite every one of you to join us at the 9th Africa Agri Expo 2026. To mention again, the dates are 11th and 12th of February, and the venue is Kenyatta International Convention Center, situated in Nairobi, Kenya, where global industry leaders will showcase the technologies shaping the future of African agriculture today. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at the expo. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.